co-channel interference is nothing but within the same channel. Co-channel is nothing but within the same channel. If two radio transmitters are transmitting the data, within the same channel, and this is called a co-channel interference. It's called a co-channel interference. At the same time, adjacent channel interference. Adjacent channel interference is nothing but the frequency band used by the adjacent cell or from the next frequency band. That means adjacent the frequency band near to or adjacent frequency band. The regions for adjacent channel interference are the extra power transmitted in the adjacent channel. This may interfere in the signal. Right? This is a reason for adjacent channel interference. Also due to irregular modulations. Irregular modulations caused the adjacent channel interference. Right? These are the basic definitions about interference and adjacent channel and co-channel interferences. Co-channel interference. These all are discussed in the last class. What are the limitations and what are the pros and cons of different co-channel interferences. Right? Now the topic is co-channel interference areas in a system. In a cellular system, what are the co-channel interference areas? Co-channel interference areas, that means what are the areas affected by the co-channel interference? What are the areas affected by the co-channel interference? Now the received voice quality is affected by the grade of coverage and the amount of co-channel interference. That means at the receiver, the voice quality is affected for two reasons. One is grade of coverage. That means the distance between the mobile station and the base station. The first and second one is co-channel interference. That means due to co-channel interference, the voice quality is affected. In order to detect channel interference areas, that means in a particular cell, at which area the channel will be affected. To detect these areas, we have to perform two tasks. In this first one is co-channel interference area from a mobile receiver. That means co-channel interference area from the mobile receiver, mobile station. This is the first one. And second one is from the cell site. Co-channel interference area affects a cell site. Cell site is nothing but the area covered under the base station is called a cell site. Coming to co-channel interference area from a mobile receiver. Here there are 6 co-channel cells. Here there are 6 co-channel cells. Here there are 6 co-channel cells. 4, 5 and 6. These 6 co-channel cells. And here is the one cell. This represents this cell, this one, right? The co-channel interference is measured by selecting any one channel from 6. Selecting a one channel from and transmitting on the channel to all co-channel sites. That means from one channel we have to transmit the data to remaining co-channel sites. Remaining co-channel sites. While the mobile receiver is moving in one of the co-channel sites. That means this is mobile receiver. It has to move in one co-channel sites among 6. Among 6 sites, this mobile receiver has to move in one co-channel site. The co-channel or inter-channel. Both are same, co-channel or inter-channel. Inter-channel both are same, at the same time adjacent channel and intra-channel. Adjacent channel or intra-channel both are same. These two interferences are denoted by that means co-channel interference, which is also nothing but co-channel interference is denoted as CCI. CCI, right? Co-channel interference is denoted as CCI. This is also denoted as carrier to interference ratio. Carrier to interference ratio. That means C is nothing but carrier to interference, which is also I. Carrier to interference ratio or signal to interference ratio. Signal to, that means S by I. C by I or S by I. Based on the values of C by I or S by I, we will predict the interference values of that particular signal. Right? Here, the C by I, carrier to interference ratio. If the numerator is high compared to denominator, if the numerator value is very high compared to denominator, then the signal strength is high. Signal strength is high compared to interference. That means low level of interferences exist. If denominator is high compared to numerator, denominator has high value, then that means interference value is high. That means the signal in the original signal, the unwanted signal is added predominantly. In that case, the signal is corrupted or the signal has an interference ratio. In these cases, the calls are dropped or blocked because of this C-by ratio is less than 1. That means if denominator value is high compared to numerator. Right? Coming to co-channel interference area from mobile receiver. Now we have to detect any changes in the field strength recorder, which is in the mobile unit. Field strength recorder records in which place the signal strength is high. It will record, which exists in the mobile unit. Also, the recorded data is compared with the corresponding co-channel sites. The recorded strength is compared with the remaining co-channel sites. This test must be repeated. Until the mobile unit moves towards the all co-channel sites. That means the remaining, if we assume the 6 co-channel sites are there, the mobile unit will move towards all these co-channel sites and record the field signal strength. Means in which area the high signal will be received. Based on this, the signal strength will be detected by the mobile unit using mobile strength recorder or field strength recorder. Suppose out of these 6 channels, 4 channel sites, suppose if one channel receives the signal level, that means if F1 receives the signal level and F2 receives the interference level, at the same time F3 used for noise level. F3 used for noise level. Here they are F1, F2, F3, F4, F5 and F6 here and F6, right? For which here this is F2 for interference level used for interference level, that means I. F1 is for signal level, yes. So F3 is for noise level. It's for noise level, right? Noise level, signal level, and interference level. Now, if you want to find out a signal to interference ratio, signal to interference ratio or carrier to interference ratio. That means signal to interference ratio means S minus I, that is F2 minus or F1 minus F3. Carrier to interference ratio is nothing but F1 minus F3 is called carrier to interference ratio, and also the carrier to noise ratio nothing but F2 minus F3. F2 minus F3 nothing but carrier to noise ratio. Here F1 to F2, all these are such channels or frequency values of corresponding four channel sites. If you want to compare the results from the mobile unit, which is recorded the fields and the recorder for co-channel sites, if C by I is greater than 18, if C by I ratio is greater than 18 dB, if C by I is greater than 18 dB, that means carrier to interference ratio is greater than 18 dB throughout the cell, the system is properly designed, right? That means if C by I ratio is greater than 18 dB, then the system is properly designed. This is the first condition. And second one is if C by I is less than 18, if C by I is less than 18 dB, and C by N is, that means carrier to noise ratio is greater than 18, then it has a CCI, presence of CCI. That means co-channel interferences exist in the site for C by I less than 18 and C by N greater than 18. First one is if C by I greater than 18, then the system is properly designed. If the C by I is less than 18 and C by N greater than 18, then there exists a co-channel interference. If C by N and C by I, that means carrier to noise ratio and carrier to interference ratio, both are less than 18 dB, and C by N is equal to C by I in a given area. That means carrier to noise ratio is equal to carrier to interference ratio in a given area. Then it indicates a coverage problem. That means the less coverage from the base station in the particular cell area, right? Last one. Fourth one is if C by N and C by R are less than 18 dB and C by N greater than C by I. That means carrier to noise ratio is greater than carrier to interference ratio. Then there is a coverage problem and as well as a co-channel interference problem. Both are exist in this condition, right? Co-channel interference area from a mobile receiver there are 4 conditions based on the C by and I and C by N ratio. That means carrier interference and carrier noise ratios. In this first one is if C by I is greater than 18, carrier interference ratio is greater than 18 throughout this area, then means the system is properly designed. If the C by I is less than 18 and C by N is greater than 18, then there is a problem, coverage problem. Or sorry, then there is a co-channel interference. Presence of co-channel interference. And if C by N and C by R less than 18 dB, and C by N is equal to C by I, then which indicates a coverage problem. The last condition, that both is having coverage and CCA problem for this condition, right? The co-channel interference areas are found at the mobile receiver by using a field strength recorder. This field strength recorder is moving all the co-channel sets and detects the signal strengths and compares the signal strength based on this, in which area the co-channel sensor based on these conditions. If the carrier signal is more compared to interference signal, based on these values, we assume the certain problems regarding the cell site, right? So the first one and second one is co-channel interference. Co-channel interference which affects the cell site. The first one we are discussing at the mobile receiver, and then at the second one discuss about the mobile site or cell site. Here are different types of cells, interfering cells, right? Okay. Next one is co-channel interference area which affects a cell site. In the previous one, the signal strength is recorded at every co-channel site by the mobile receiver. Based on this, we find the areas where the interfering signal strength, top signal strength levels are there, in which areas are in which areas there is very less area, very less signal strength exists in the cell site, right? based on the cell site data, the top 10% level. That means highest top 10 percent level can be distributed in different areas in the cell. This signal strength is used as the interference level from that particular interfering cell. Interfering cell is there. Right? Interfering cells are these cells are called interfering cells. These cells are called interfering cells. Right? From that particular interfering cell, the mobile unit also travels at different interfering cells up to 6 interference levels. The average of the bottom 10% level is the signal strength, which is transmitted from a mobile unit. It is received at the jth cell, which is nothing but this jth cell. Based on the data taken from the field strength recorder, the values will be segregated in the top 10% interfering levels are treated as complex states, right? Here is the jth cell is crucial cell. Based on this cell, more data is retrieved from the jth cell. Okay, this is about co-channel interference areas. There are two areas which affect the area which affects the cell site or area which affects the mobile receiver. Both these are discussed in this topic. Next one is estimation of a co-channel interference level. That means the level of co-channel interference will be estimated by using these formulas, right? So what is the estimation level of a co-channel interference? And this topic will be discussed in the next class.